There you go. Well, thank you guys for coming on tonight. Appreciate you. And I'm excited to share some exciting things with you today. And we'll get into my background in just a little bit. But this is class one. And we got to change this here date here. If I can I change that date? I wonder if I can. Let's see here. It's actually the 2022 planning class. Let's see if they'll let me do it here. There we go. This is probably because it is 2021 right now that it did that. There we go. Okay, so we got the 2022 planning class. This is for network marketers, and it's going to be very content rich. So take some good notes. We are recording this, so we'll get this over to our office manager, and over the next couple of days, she'll get it out to you as well, in case you didn't get a particular note, or if I talk too fast, we'll get it going. Today's the 15th. This is class one. So I actually have a couple of more classes coming up here, one on Saturday and one on Monday. And we'll get into that in just a second, but I wanted to welcome you guys. There's a couple of things that I'd like you to do as well. I'm going to put this in the chat. In fact, I think I already did. It's a special Facebook group just for this class. And we're going to do a couple of things in this class in the Facebook group. So if you go to the chat, you can actually see the link and you can request to join that right now. And then we'll go ahead and put some stuff in there as we go through the plan. The other thing I wanted to invite you to, and this is completely optional. By the way, let me share with you real quick what this looks like. This is the planning class right here. Can you still see my screen here with the Facebook page? Yeah, okay. So if you click to join, you can join, and then just put in where you're calling from or where you're coming in from. I know Donna's in from Oregon, and then Marion, wherever you're from, go ahead and put that in there as well. And then the other thing I want to share with you is the other link, and that is a private Facebook group. It's completely generic. We don't promote any products. We don't promote any compensation plans or companies. It is a private Facebook group just for network marketers. And there's quite a bit of content in here for network marketing. It's many of the things that I've learned over the years. Every Monday I do a Facebook Live. It's a show that's been going on for over actually about 2 years now. You'll see, you can go into the media part and go click on videos, and you'll see over 100 videos that I've got that are little tips. They're 10 minutes long, and they are tips that I've learned to go from average to fortune and from cook to coach. So that could be really helpful to you. And let me go back to the page here. This is the Facebook link. Oh, let me see if I can copy that. It won't let me copy it. If you go to Network Marketers Secrets to 10,000 a month, I'll just ask for an invitation, and I will allow you to come in. So that'll be for you guys. That's completely optional. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but there's a lot of content rich stuff in there. And since we don't promote any company, it's a great source to get ongoing training on a regular basis. Okay. Let's go to MLMreplay.com. This class here, along with a couple of other things, are going to be in here. So if you want to join the Facebook group, just click the button. It's MLMreplay.com. If you haven't yet done so, which I don't believe you two have, you can request a free coaching session. Just click this button, and then they'll go right to my calendar, set up a free coaching session, and then we'll talk about this coaching program later on. So that is MLMreplay.com. Okay, so first of all, I'm a firm believer, as well as Eric, my partner, in self-acknowledgement. And I want to congratulate you guys for being here. You're here. You're willing to learn. I asked you to be teachable. Obviously you are. You wouldn't be here. And then we'll talk about taking some action in just a little bit. But congratulations. I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited to share my time with you. And I appreciate and value the time that you're sharing with me. Looks like we got quite a few more people in the class here. I can't see anybody else, but I see you two. Let's see what we got. Can we get everybody in? Oh, that's, well, they're here. You guys are all here. Okay. Class one is today. Class 2 is at 12 noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday. We've got a special guest that is going to have there. And then Monday, we have another special guest. These guys have been in the industry for many, many years. And they're going to share their story with you. So I'm pinning one down hopefully tomorrow morning for Saturday. And once we get him pinned down, then I'll post it in the planning class, the Facebook planning group there. And it's going to be very, very exciting. We'll be able to promote it. And I believe that you're going to want to get anybody that you have that you know in network marketing on this call on Saturday. So that'll be a lot of fun. Okay, a little bit about me. I grew up in a family restaurant, franchise restaurant until I was 28 years old. And that's all I knew was working in a restaurant. I went and got my real estate license, but not to sell real estate. I was just hoping someday I'd be able to invest in real estate. And I thought I needed a license for that. And since then, 35 years in sales. My first exposure to entrepreneurial sales was network marketing. And I've been in network marketing, was in network marketing for 25 years. I'm not in network marketing now. Now I train people how to become high income earners. And I became a very highly successful recruiter. I trained and built teams in 5 different countries, 4 languages. And one of them was extremely large, ended up growing. I had my key people, and then of course they go out and recruit, but the total organization was over 40,000. And it was a lot of people. And that organization is still continuing today. It's the largest organization in Latin America. It's in 24 countries. And last year did over $3 billion in business, the team that I started and started growing there. I've trained 6 and 7 figure earners in the industry, recruited, trained, and managed the largest producing door-to-door sales team in the country, not in network marketing, but in direct sales. And I know we have some people on here that are in direct sales, and that just gives you a little bit about my experience. I spent 10 to 12 years in that industry, going door to door, selling cable TV. And if you can go door to door and be successful, you can pretty much sell anything. And my top 7 guys were all earning over 100,000 a year going door to door. It was kind of funny because they were driving up in Mercedes and BMWs, and people ask them, "What do you do?" He said, "Well, I go door to door selling cable." They go, no, really, what do you do?" They didn't believe us because we just hit it at the right time, blessed and fortunate enough to do extremely well. I do a live Facebook show, workshops, masterminds. I mentored many people in the network marketing industry, and I've coached and so much more in the training space with CEOs, owners of companies, and business strategists. So it's the experience is and I'm not telling you to brag. I'm telling you to share with you what you're going to get today. And if you decide you want to work with me and coach with me, you'll get an idea of my background. It's been highly successful. Okay, here's me and my kids. Got 4 kids, all adult children. My youngest just graduated from college in July, and went to work in Chicago. My oldest and my daughter, he's my oldest. My daughter is in Michigan here. And my second son, I haven't seen him since this one graduated. So that was in the end of July. So he's coming in this weekend on Saturday for the holidays. I'm excited to see all of them this weekend. So those are my 4 kids. Okay. So here's the challenge that I had, and some of you may be going through. When I left the restaurant business, actually I started network marketing when I was 26. It took me another 2 years, 1.5 years to 2 years to leave that industry because I was raised as an employee. Even though my family owned the restaurant, I didn't have the entrepreneurial habits, didn't have the entrepreneurial skills. I punched the clock. I got paid just like everybody else. Didn't share in any of the profits, didn't share in the, there wasn't many, but didn't share in that end of it, the ownership. I was treated and raised like an employee. Nothing wrong with that. That's just the way it was. So it took me 18 months of working at part-time, the network marketing industry, part-time, to develop up some kind of skills that I could feel comfortable spending more time with it. So, because it is different. And they don't, tell you that in the network marketing industry. They say it's great part-time business, and it is a great part-time business as long as you're working with a full-time attitude. But I was in that different frame of mind. So it took me that long. There was an opportunity for me to go to a Millionaire training school in Dallas, Texas. And it was a 3-day event. And I didn't have much money because I was making $17,000 a year working in the restaurant. And this was in the 80s, mid 80s. And I had some family in Fort Worth. So I made arrangements to stay at their house and borrow their car and drive back and forth to the hotel where they were doing this Millionaire training school. But at this school, it changed my perception and my life forever, because I saw things there that I realized that I could become more. I could become more and I could learn more, because I saw average people making more in a month than I was making in a year. And they weren't more educated than I was. They weren't more experienced than I was. They had just different skills. They understood the entrepreneurial mindset and what it took to earn that kind of money. So that's when I made a commitment to work the business on a full-time basis and start developing up those skills a little bit more aggressively. And I had the opportunity, I made some connections there, I had the opportunity to go on the road. And some of the things I learned in Dallas was, for things to change, I had to change. And for things to get better, I had to get better. I learned that from Larry Thompson and Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn shared something. He said, I wish I would have appreciated the fact that the intelligence and the amount of philosophical wisdom Jim had at the time I was working with him. Actually, I had an opportunity to spend 3 years there because he was a mentor for the company. But he said, a few simple errors in judgment equals pennies. If you repeat those errors in judgment every single day over a period of time, equals pennies. He says, but on the other side, a few simple disciplines repeated every single day equals fortune. He said, so if it's worth remembering, write it down and learn as much as you can. So I came away from that weekend, and these are some of the things that I realized that I had to stop blaming all the other factors, stop blaming the economy, stop blaming my job, stop blaming my family, stop blaming the politics, and realize that I needed to look in the mirror, and for things to change, I had to change. And I had to learn the skill. If I wanted to be in that business and I wanted to be successful, I needed to learn the skills and what it took. So that's what started to happen. So when you write things, what I learned is when you write things down, here's what Jim said. He said, if it's worth remembering, write it down, because most people don't take notes and they don't write it down, and that's why they're broke. He said, but if it's worth remembering, write it down. You'll have it forever. You can go back to it, look at it. And he said, be specific. So what we're doing today is we're going to write down our goals. We're going to write down our plan for 2022. We're going to write it down, because when you write it down and it's clear and you have intention to accomplish those goals, and please be specific for yourself, not for me. This is for you. I've got my goals. I know what I want. I've got them down and I wrote them down, and I was specific on them so that I can have intention when I start off the new year. And by the way, I'm not waiting for the new year. I'm creating momentum going into the new year. So some of the ideas to consider for you guys when you write your plan. In the network marketing industry, there's always there's different names for it, but personal volume, group volume, which is your organization. How many new clients do you plan on getting in 2022? How many personal people do you plan on recruiting? Personally, not your downline, but you personally, how many people do you plan on recruiting? You say, well, Harry, I don't know how many I'm going to recruit. I go out there recruiting every single day. But I want you to have a target, because if you have a target, you can create a plan for that target. And I'll talk about the plan in just a little bit, but you can create a plan. So write down how many personal recruits. And it's not so much you have to recruit 100 people. And here's the philosophy with that is, it's not how many you recruit, it's what are you doing with the ones that you do recruit. That was one of the key things that I was able to grow into. That first year and a half, everybody that I recruited, I had a revolving door. The company was growing, but I wasn't, because I wasn't skilled enough and know what to do with those new recruits. I expected them to do it on their own. And it didn't work that way. So after that Dallas workshop, I had a clearer picture. And then 9 months on the road, working with other people really solidified what I needed to do. So write down how many new recruits, your group recruiting. So how many people do you want to add to your total organization in 2022? If you're brand new, do you want to add 40 people, 50 people, 100 people? Do you want to add 1,000 people to your group? One of the plans I teach in my workshops is how to recruit 30 people in one or two legs in 30 days, 30 people in 30 days by chasing the business. And that's, if you know how to do that and you do that, write down 30 times 12, 360 people added to your organization or more, however that is. How many social media followers do you want to attract to recruit online? People that you have never met before. What kind of income are you looking for? Are you looking to do the same that you did this year? Are you looking to increase it 20%, 30%? You want to go at least 10% because inflation's out of control right now. So you definitely want to do that. Or do you want to double or triple your income? Whatever that is, not for me, but for you. What's your target? And then what kind of increase do you want in your royalty override check? Because total income includes, wholesale, retail, royalty. How much do you want your check to grow? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 7 minutes. We'll look at the clock here. It's 7. Here it's 9:17. So we'll go 7 minutes. Let's go to 9:25 Eastern time. So 6:25 Pacific time. And I'm going to post something in the Facebook group. And go ahead and take a moment to write these things down. If you have other specifics in there, you don't need 100 goals. You don't need 100 pieces to your plan. Just pick a handful that you can lock into and write your plan. So go ahead and do that now. I'm going to turn off the recording. I'm going to turn off the my video so I can go to the Facebook group and post. You guys go ahead and do that. We'll come right back here at 9:25 Eastern. Okay. There we go. So we missed that piece. You guys don't have to suffer through it. I'm not going to do it again. Thanks, Christine. I appreciate it. I'd have gone through the whole thing without recording it. So what we just did real quickly is we did the theme. Pick a theme for the year. Pick a theme that motivates you. And if you feel up to it, go ahead and post your theme in the group. One of the things that I hope for each of you as we go through this with some of the content and more of the content is to hopefully create a breakthrough for you. Some of these things, like I mentioned earlier, created a breakthrough for me. And every time you have that little breakthrough, Eric's got a formula. We learn, and then we have a breakthrough. Nothing goes straight up. It's a process. So if you are continuing learning, like we talked about earlier in the presentation, continuing growing and you're teachable, it's predictable that you'll have a breakthrough. Some breakthroughs are bigger than others. When I was doing my network marketing business, it took me 1.5 to 2 years of learning before I finally had a breakthrough. And we'll talk about that in just a second as we continue on. When I was going door to door, it took me 2.5 years to develop a complete training program, and then all the stars aligned, and boom, after 2.5 years, within 100 days, my team exploded. We went from nobody to #1 in the country, increased tenfold in 100 days because we all had breakthroughs. And that's how what I want for each of you. Okay, we got the bottom of the hour. So let's go ahead and go to the next post. Okay. One of the things that changed my life with network marketing was Eric calls it building association, building relationships with people. And I want you to think about how you can build association into your plan. Now, for me, when I went to Dallas, I met some other people there. I made it a point to meet the stories that I had seen on the tapes, the stories that I had seen and heard, that people were making more in a month than I was making in a year. I made it a point to go and meet them and introduce myself to them. And something happened there where 6 months later, I found out that 9 of these guys were going to go on the road in North Carolina. They were going to go to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and they were going to work the Triad area, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point. They were going to work the Triad area for 90 days. They were going to do a 90-day plan, and they were going to recruit, sell, build, do meetings 3 times a week, interview every day, and really just go all in. And they invited me. And I had never done anything like that before. And I said, okay, well, I've got nothing to lose. Between the 9 of them, they had made $11 million. And I hadn't made anything, just pennies compared to that. So I figured, okay, well, I got the most to learn. I might as well go and do it. And so I because of the association I built in Dallas, they invited me to North Carolina because they saw my energy, they saw my positivity, they saw my optimism, they saw my drive and the hunger. So they invited me there, and I worked there for 90 days. And I learned so much about recruiting, so much about interviewing, and so much about selling the product. And because of what happened there, came back home to Detroit, and a week later, one of my uplines invited me. He said, listen, his name is John Peterson. He said, John and his wife, Susan, said, listen, Susan and I and my brother, Stephen, we're going to Denver, and we're going to open up Denver. We're moving from Austin to Denver, and we're going to start a whole new group. We're going to start over. And I said, okay, well, congratulations. He goes, well, we want to know if you'd like to come with us. We'd like to know if you'd like to come and you can live with us and learn everything about what we do on a daily basis. And John at that time was making about $9,000 a month. And I said, well, he's at 9 and I'm at nothing. He said, I got nothing to lose. So I packed up my car, took my dog and my cat, and I drove to Denver. And I slept on his couch for 6 months, and I did everything that they taught me. And every part of this piece changed my life. And that was because of my commitment in North Carolina, which was because of the way I showed up in Dallas. And it's starting to happen. So 6 months of working there, came back to Detroit, believe it or not, for a funeral. And I met a barmaid waitress, and she had a different kind of an attitude. It almost felt like me. Somebody saw me in the restaurant and they said, this guy's in the wrong place. This guy's got more than what this restaurant can do for him. And they introduced me to the network marketing, and that started the ball rolling. And same thing with this waitress. She was energetic, great personality, and she was a talker. And so I introduced her to the opportunity, and boom, things started to happen. She was my first real doer. And in 9 months, she made $80,000. And obviously she didn't have to wait on tables anymore or sling corned beef and serve drinks. But it started the ball rolling because of what I had learned. I started learning the skills and what to do and how to do it. And I was able to teach other people the art of duplication, and it started to grow. And after working for about a year here in Detroit, I had the opportunity. John called me from Denver and he said, listen, we're going to open up Mexico. He goes, you want to come to Mexico? And I'd never been out of the country. I might have been to Windsor, Canada, because it's only about 20 minutes from Detroit. But I never been out of anywhere else. And my idea of Mexico was what we see on TV when we see Tijuana. They didn't show me anything else. So I was expecting, just horrible things. But I landed in Mexico City, and it was unbelievable. It changed my perception. I love Mexico. I love the people down there. And I was able to recruit recruit and train and duplicate. And again, some of those same guys that were in North Carolina, they were there and we started working together. And I recruited a guy that sold watches on the street, and he would open up his suit coat. That's another thing about there. Down there, it's almost like New York City. Everybody's wearing a suit and tie. I said, where's all the slums? And it's amazing, the prosperity, the attitude, the work ethic. The ethic is unbelievable down there. And the media obviously shows a different picture, but that is not the case. So this guy's selling watches in his coat and his arms, got 4 watches on his arms, and he comes to a presentation and I recruit him. And we developed obviously a working relationship, and he was my top guy. I was able to recruit other people down there, but this guy was special, and ended up over the next few years, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Everything just changed dramatically. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a couple of minutes and think about where in your business, now today it's virtual, today it's different, but can you find someone in your company that would let you work with them? Sit in on their meetings, sit in on their presentations, do they do group orientations? Do you have somebody that you can lock arms with and work together? Somebody that potentially is making more than you are, doing better than you are? Are they willing to take you under their wing? Is there someone in your company that you can, maybe 2 or 3 people that you can do what I did when I went on the road? Again, now you don't have to go on the road, and many of us don't want to go on the road. But if you have the opportunity to work with other people, is there some kind of association that you can think of that will advance where you're at right now? And take a minute and write that down into your plan. What kind of association can you create? Who have you met maybe at a regional rally or an annual rally, or who do you know from a previous business that you could associate with, that you could tie together, that could grow? Or who would you like to create an association with? When I went to Dallas and I met these guys, I said, boy, I'd love to have a relationship with these guys. And then things started happening. So I saw him on a video, I met him in person. Now the country in some parts is opening up again. So you may have started with your company and it's been virtual ever since you started. Well, are you able to find those people on social media? Can you reach out to them? So write down 4 or 5 people that you think that you could either get tremendous value from and share a little bit of value to them, but go with an open mind for you to grow. So build that into your plan right now. Let's take 3 minutes and build some association in your plan. I'm not going to turn off the recording. So while you guys are doing that, I'll tell you a little bit more about my story here as it goes through, because it's interesting how it evolved. The company that I was with ended up going through, I shouldn't say that. They weren't growing as fast as other companies were. And sometimes the grass looks greener on the other side of the street or on the other side of the fence until you get over there and realize that they got dogs over there too. And the grass grows there too. So I was constantly approached by other companies to come and work with them. But there was one guy that called me every month for 10 months. And the first time he called me, he told me we're starting up this company. I said, well, most companies go out of business in their first year. I'm not interested. And but he called me every month. So we're still in business and this is what's happening. And they were growing crazy. In the 13th month, which was the 10th time he called me, I said, okay. He goes, we've been in business more than a year now. You ready to take a look? And I said, well, what am I going to look at? He goes, well, we got products that you can lose weight. I said, I don't need to lose weight. He goes, yeah, but you can feel better. There's so much energy and you feel better. I says, I got a lot of energy now. He said, well, how do you know you can't feel better than you do right now unless you do? I said, well, I can't. He goes, exactly. He goes, it's 100% guaranteed. Let me send you the product, try them out. If you like them, we'll go from there. So I ended up walking away from an $8,000 a month income that I built with that company. Nobody came with me. I started over, started a new company, and started working with them. Now, it turned out to later on to be a bad decision, but at that time, it was the best for me. And in 22 months, I'm making $120,000 a month. So it radically changed my life. And the problem was, I thought it was going to last forever. And there's three things, you guys can write these down. There's three things that will destroy any partnership, any relationship, any business. And the acronym is AGE, AGE. It's arrogance, greed, and ego. Any one of them will destroy a relationship, whether it's a spousal relationship, a family relationship, or a business relationship. And that's what happened with this company, and it imploded. And overnight, I went to zero. And so I floundered around for a few other companies. One company hired me as a national trainer. I worked with them for about a year, and same thing happened. They couldn't do it. They're selling a weight loss product, and the owner of the company was 375 pounds, and it didn't work. The product worked, but they were not a product of the product. They didn't have that tied to it that was good representation, and it wasn't growing. So anyway, I moved around from company to company. Finally, I said, forget it, I'm out of here. And I left and started doing something else. And actually, I did the door-to-door for 10 months in Chicago. Well, while I was in Chicago, I reconnected with my old sponsor, John, and him and I started dialogue back and forth. And he told me what they were doing. And I said, okay, I think I'd like to try that. And so I decided to join back up with him in the company. And they had an online system now. So there's a transition from face-to-face to online. So it's a few years later. And so signed up with him in 9 months, back up to 8,000 a month and 9,000 a month. And then he said, listen, we're going to Brazil. And he says, you interested in going to Brazil? Now, that 9,000 a month was built on recruit. And nobody was getting emotionally tied to the product. It was moving so fast that they were all about the money, and they weren't locking into the product. And so the first little wave that came around, the first little breeze of wind that came around, boom, a bunch of them left because they weren't tied to the product. Now me, I already knew about the product. I was locked in. In fact, today I'm still using three of the products from those companies that I was with. And 30 plus years later, I still use them because they've affected me emotionally. I use them every single day. I don't sell them. I don't represent them. I just use them. So I said, okay, I'll go to Brazil. I made some bad business decisions, bad investments with the money that I had, and lost almost everything. I just bought a new house, wife, 3 kids under 10, and I lost a bunch of stuff, and it was bad. So I said, okay, I'll go to Brazil. So went to Sao Paulo, Brazil, and every 6 weeks came home for 3 weeks, went back, and then built a huge organization down there, learned to speak a little bit of Portuguese, learned when I was in Mexico, I learned to speak a little bit of Spanish, and came back and started building a team down there and growing it. And it wasn't like Mexico was. It wasn't growing the way I wanted it to. It wasn't growing. It was growing. It was doing well. It had a team, a nice team, 20, 30 people. It was growing. But the language obviously was a barrier. And it just wasn't satisfying. I was burned out. And that's when I left, and I came back home at the end. I signed a 1-year contract, came back home, and decided to go back into the door-to-door because now it had moved to Michigan. I didn't have to drive to Chicago anymore. So it came to Michigan. So in my backyard, and that's when I started doing the door-to-door, got out of the network marketing industry totally at that time. And the next 12 years worked with the door-to-door thing and blew it up. And that's where I really took all my knowledge from the network marketing industry and recruited, trained, and developed that team of guys that became the #1 producing door-to-door sales team in the country. It wasn't because I was anything special. It's what I learned from Jim Rohn. It's what I learned from Mark Hughes. It's what I learned from John Peterson. Those were the people that changed my life, but it was the skills. And one thing Larry Thompson taught me, one of my mentors, he said, as you guys develop and learn these skills, society, they will find a way to take away everything you've ever earned, but they can never take away what you learned. And that never stood more true than what I was able to do then. And in corporate America, because the cable companies I was a contractor, wasn't an employee of the company. But in corporate America mindset, when you make that kind of money, they don't like it. They change the rules. And so over the next 8 years, they started changing the rules and the income was dropping. I'm still extremely grateful. My guys made a lot of money. A couple of them made over $1 million. I made over $2 million. And it was great because I did smart things with my money. I knew it wasn't going to last forever. I did smart things and diversified into different investments. The reason I'm telling you this is because the knowledge that I had of recruiting and network marketing, I was able to take there. The knowledge that I had learned how to team build, how to support, how to grow, how to chase the business, I took it there. So these are the goals that you want to set down for yourself. How many new recruits do you want to get? Do you want to get better at recruiting? Do you want to get better at chasing the business? Do you want to get better at getting more clients? And what I found is that it's important to have a process. Getting a plan down is a key component of that process. But the next process is not just getting customers, but how to onboard those customers, how to follow up with those customers, how to make sure they get an emotional attachment to the product. Because you can have a revolving door with unsatisfied customers just as well as you can have a revolving door with unsatisfied distributors. With distributors, what I found out is they need to earn, they get in for the money if I recruited them for the opportunity. Some of my people I recruited because they were satisfied customers, they wanted to do the business, I recruited them, they were already locked into the product. But if I was recruiting for the business, for the opportunity, it was important for me to show them how to make money in the first 24 to 48 hours. Because they don't remember, they are coming from, most of them came from a employee background, just like I did. They didn't have the entrepreneurial skills that I learned. So I had to teach them how to make money in the first 24 to 48 hours. If I did, they stuck around. If I didn't, and they weren't willing to do what I shared with them to do, then they generally didn't last long, or they were part-time. So part of the process, and that's what you want to do, is have a process in place that brings people up so that they are making money, they're duplicating, they're following the plan, the proven plan of action. So do you have that? Put that in your goals. Put that in your plan here for 2022, is to have a process to onboard my customers and to potentially turn those customers into distributors or partners, whatever you call them in your business. We call them distributors. And you have a process, excuse me, to recruit new people. And then what's your process of getting those people emotionally tied to the product or service that you represent? Now, for me, it was nutritional products, but it doesn't, there's other products out there that aren't consumable. You can get just as emotionally tied to those as well. There's legal services and insurance services. Excuse me. I got emotionally tied to, I'm not a distributor, I'm a customer of the legal business, legal product, but it's helped me out tremendously. My real estate acquisitions, my land contracts, speeding ticket, whatever, I continue to be a product of the product. Okay, so put that into your plan. And what I want you to do, now that you've got your list, and again, you don't have to have 100, put 5 to 10, all you need is 5 to 10, but pick 1 or 2 of those that are the most important to you. Pick the 1 or 2 of those. And what I want you to do is I want you to find a way that you can be laser focused on those one or two. The other ones will happen. You'll pull them up as you go. But if you get laser focused on the one or two, for me, I became a master recruiter. I also became a master salesperson. What we did was, back then, newspapers were around, internet wasn't. But back then, people were putting little ads in the paper. Lose up to 30 pounds in 30 days. Lose 10 to 30 pounds, 29 pounds in 30 days. And the product worked. It delivered every single time that people used the product. But I said, okay, well, we put an ad in one paper. That's great. What if I went to a meeting and I heard somebody say they use statewide ads. And I said, what's that? They said, well, you call one number and you put it in and it runs into every paper in the state. I said, really? I said, how expensive is that? They said it pays for itself plus more, because now you've got customers all over the state. I said, okay, I'm into that. So we started running statewide ads. What was exciting about this is it would run the same ad in 30 different papers for one flat fee. So I didn't have to call up all those 30 papers myself. I just called them and they put it in all of them. The ones that didn't belong to that statewide advertising, I called them individually. So what we learned is that if we followed up properly, we could get satisfied customers in 30 different cities and recruit them, and they could be the key person in that city. And now we got 30 distributors in 30 different cities, and we kept running the statewide ads in those cities, and we taught them how to work with the clients. So we were able to put money in their pocket in the first 24 to 48 hours. So now I got 30 cities going instead of just my backyard. And the same thing can be done now with the internet. You can go nationwide. In many cases, you can go international. And so what's your plan? I want you to think big, think bigger. Even if you're part-time, just know what's possible. Know what's possible, because you may be looking at it from one window. I want to give you a bigger window. Okay. If this is resonating with you, just give me a thumbs up if you can. This resonate? Oh yeah, you like that? Okay, thanks, Donna. Okay, let me go back to sharing my screen here. You guys, hopefully you got the theme. I didn't talk you right through the theme part or the association part. Let's go share screen. There we go. Okay. So let's talk about a share bonus. I got this from Eric last night on his presentation. He had a share bonus. I like this. Okay, I'll put this link, MLMplanningclass.com. If you would share this link to anybody that you have on your social media, if you have a downline, share it with your downline. If you have an upline, share it with your upline. We're not talking about any companies or any marketing plans, comp plans. We're just complete generic content. If you would share it, and then email me at harry@ericlafholm.com and let me know you shared it on any form of your social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Clubhouse, Facebook, whatever you want, or all of them. That'd be great. I will send you a 40-minute class that I did on 5 key distinctions of top income earners that they know and use every single day. I recorded, my energy was a little low because I recorded it when I had COVID. I was hammered with COVID, but I had it scheduled and I didn't want to miss it. So I did it. But the content is powerful. So if you like that class, I know a couple of you have that class already. I sent it, you were part of it and I'd send it to you. But if you haven't had it, it's a great class. I'd be more than happy to send that to you. Okay. So next thing, just to remind, Saturday, 12/18, 9 a.m. Monday, third day, special guest, 6 p.m. Pacific time, same as tonight. Tuesday, I'm going to be introducing a coaching program. If the content that we share with you over the next 3 sessions is something you get excited about, I am looking for people that I can personally work with wherever they're at and bring them up to wherever they want to go. And I know that I can compress time because I did it with Andrea, that barmaid waitress, and I've done it with several other people. to get you focused on what you want to do. You want to get better at recruiting. You want to get better at online prospecting. You want to get better at explaining the products. Doesn't matter what company you work with. I teach generic stuff that will work with anybody that's in sales or direct sales. Selling more, you want to know more about follow-up, whatever it is. But I'm looking for coaching, and I'm not coaching. I'm looking for people that I can lock arms with. Just a handful of people, 5, maybe 10 people that I can work with throughout 2022 and really grow them into the next level. So I'm going to talk about that later, but it's going to be Tuesday. And there's a special link for that. In fact, if you go to right here, if you want to register for that now, you can register right now. We'll talk more about it on Saturday and Monday. But that's the coaching program. Just click that and that'll sign you up for that. That'll be a short, maybe 30, 35-minute presentation on everything that's included in that coaching program. One of the things is a 13-module course that I just recorded 5 days ago that just had edited and cut up into pieces. And that was an awesome class. So we'll throw that in there as well. So let me go back to here. Okay. So we've got 1 hour, just about 1 hour. So this is going to conclude the class for tonight. Let me go ahead and go here. And I've got time for probably 2 questions. I'll let you guys unmute if anybody wants to ask a question on what I covered today. You should be able to unmute raise your hand, and we'll go just one hand at a time. Anybody have a question at all? Okay, Bonnie, go ahead. You should be able to unmute yourself, Bonnie.
For posting, I have that email. I just looked at the email. What kind of, do I copy? I don't want to copy and paste the whole email to do a Facebook post. Do you have a specific post you want done for sharing?
For the share bonus? Just either MLMplanningclass.com. Hey, I just was at a planning class. The content was great. This guy's on fire. He's got energy. He's optimistic. He's good looking. I mean, whatever. whatever you want to put on there, but promote that you got value out of it. And he's going to do it again with a special guest on Saturday. If they sign up, they'll get a copy of the replay, because we're going to talk about the replay, so they can go back and listen to this episode here. And so MLMplanningclass.com, or you might be able, I'm not sure if you can copy my meme, but you can put my meme up there if you want.
Oh, okay. I'll look, see what I can do.
Try and see if you can copy and paste that. If not, just do MLMplanningclass.com. I think if it comes just authentic, you got value and you're recommending to them, then they should go for it.
I did. Thank you for tonight. I appreciate it very much.
You're more than welcome. Thank you guys for your trusting me with your time. I appreciate that. Anybody else? I'm excited about Saturday, and I hope you guys are too. We've got 3 days. We'll hopefully have double the amount of people, because we'll be promoting it for the next few days. And then as soon as I locked on that special guest, I'll get it out there in the Facebook group. You guys can see it. So just keep track of that. If I haven't accepted your invitation yet, I will as soon as we're done. But with that, I really appreciate you guys. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you on Saturday. Okay. Thanks, Marion, for coming in. Christine, thank you. Appreciate you. Bonnie, Donna, Ann, Carol, and James. I like how you show.
Thanks, Harry.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
It was excellent.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, James. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.